Evening, everybody. It's me, Joe, again. Just going over for the weekly video slash podcast reaction video. So just getting right into it. First one is the video about media ethics, specifically the four guiding principles of the SPJ Code of Ethics. I wanted to pick out particularly the be accountable and transparent one, and it says don't quote your friends and organizations that you're familiar with or that you're associated with, and that could show the audience that your content or the stories that you're telling are only for the people that already have their foot in the door, is what they said. I just want to talk about that because I do agree with that, but I think there are some instances where you can probably quote friends, particularly if it's a story about your friend. So I just wanted to provide like a small example of maybe that's not always true. But I also did want to pick out that the encouraging of the audience to call out things that may be wrong, to hold ourselves accountable as journalists, which I think kind of makes it more interactive, and it does give the audience the ability to feel like they have a voice, which they do, and that they can help guide your work. And then minimizing harm, which is always important, but the operative term being there, minimizing, and that understanding that just by the nature of the job, there is always, not always, but there's a lot of times going to be people that unfortunately do receive some kind of backlash or hopefully minimized harm for whatever story there is. Next thing is the TED Talk, which, as a Philadelphia fan, it hits close to home, particularly because we had like Donovan McNabb, Jalen Hurts, now Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, all back in the day, and now Cooper DeJean. And so I completely understand what the TED Talk is trying to address, not the examples to use though. So he uses the example of Tom Brady. Oh, he wins because he's intelligent and not athletic. It seems like he would have to be pretty athletic to be able to play and win an MVP after the age of 40. And then there's Cam Newton. Not the examples to use. And I can prove it. It is because in NFL draft, there's what we call the relative athletic score. And the relative athletic score essentially gives you a score based on your height, weight, speed, agility splits, and the way that you test at the NFL Combine. So Tom Brady, while athletic, I do think that being accurate, being able to manipulate the pocket in minute ways that you're able to shed would-be tacklers or use the bodies in front of you from your offensive line to shield you from pressure. And the ability to understand a play before it happens just by the alignment of the defense. That is all athleticism, but it's not what we would classify as like athleticism in a traditional sense. RAS, relative athletic score, does measure those things. Tom Brady had a 2.74 relative athletic score in the pre-draft process, and that equated to 155 out of 212 quarterbacks from the years 1987 to 2000. Cam Newton, on the other hand, had a perfect 10 relative athletic score, which was number one of all time for a quarterback. So not the examples to use to try and prove this stereotyping of athletes wrong. I do agree that it is wrong and it does happen, but those are not the examples to use. Again, accuracy, intelligence, all those things are a athleticism in and of itself in a very different way. But the way that we would classify athleticism normally is height, weight, speed, agility, things like that. And then if you look at their statistics, like that would confirm, it confirms that they succeeded in the ways that the draft foretold that they would succeed. Like Brady won because he was accurate, because he knew how to change the play at the line of scrimmage. He knew who was going to be open before they were open just due to the alignment of the defense. He was very anticipatory with his throws. Cam Newton ran people over. So, yes, I agree. Stereotyping based on race, obviously horrible thing to do. not the examples to use in this case.